Hajime! Welcome back, denizens of the comic book dojo. JT McRoberts here with you, and today we're going to bring you a special holiday edition of What Comics Did You Buy This Week? Christmas 2022 edition.
Toasty!
That's right. This is a bit of a more laid-back video if you're new to Comic-Jutsu and new to the channel, where we just like to take a look at all the junk that we bought over the past, and, well, not so much the coming week. We ask you about your coming week, but as far as I know, my shopping is done for the holidays. I hope yours is done as well. So from here on out, any new comics I acquire this week will be purely through gifts and the spirit of the season. I'm going to start with a bit of a cheat, because I bought this actually several months ago, well, a few months ago, The 6 Voyages of Lone Sloan. It was recommended by someone on one of the comic pages that I follow online, and I wasn't familiar with the work. I think I have an older book of comic book art, something about like the Comic Book Masters or something to that effect, which features more foreign artists. But I thought this looked really phenomenal. The glimpses that I saw posted online just caught my eye immediately. And the guy who was talking about it said, yeah, definitely check it out. It is worth picking up. So actually, I bought this right before we launched the channel, and I started doing my What Did You Buy This Week video. So this is a bit of a cheat, but I did want to show this off because it is on. It has earned a prominent spot along my bookcase and in my collection. Sensational, a beautiful dreamlike journey. There you go. But on to comics that we actually did buy this week, such as Batman Spawn. I was actually super excited when I first heard about this, that I saw it in a DC book where they were advertising the upcoming crossover between Batman and Spawn, and I thought, what? For a second, I had like a Black Cat in the Matrix moment where I thought, am I experiencing a ripple in the Matrix? Didn't we already have Batman Spawn? And I looked at the artwork and I was like, was this it was, possibilities were flashing through my mind, and I thought, is this a alternative artwork? Is this an alt cover that we didn't see from 30 years ago? But no, I read on, and eventually, of course, followed some of the news articles about the upcoming event. The first time they did this, I thought the art was great in one, and the story mediocre. And then in the other, the Doug Munch written installment, I thought was actually a little bit more interesting story. But in the end, they were both ultimately forgettable, and I guess in that tradition, this is very much the same. Yeah, I think in all of this time, Todd McFarlane still has not learned to understand the meaning of subtext or how to use it. Everything is pretty much on the nose, hitting the nail on the head, telling you what you see, telling you what you're supposed to be seeing, that sort of thing. So anyway, so it's a weird kind of crossover, and not one I'm super thrilled about. I mean, it's almost like it was written in the vein of the old DC versus Marvel crossover event that happened, where all the DC and Marvel heroes just crossed over and fought for no particular reason, and the fans supposedly voted on all of the outcomes, and the comic book had to capitulate to the results of those polls. So I picked this up. I thought the cover looked good, and the cover is actually probably the best piece of artwork. Inside, it's serviceable Greg Capullo artwork. It does have a few nice panels here and there, but the coloring is maybe a bit drab. Not maybe. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what some of the other reviewers think of this. I'm not reviewing it, mind you. I'm just giving you some of my impressions after having read it and briefly being excited by the possibility of another Batman Spawn crossover, where they possibly gave it a little bit better of a story, but such was not the case. So I suppose it'll go into my boxes to be forgotten along with the rest of them. I hope you didn't fall into the alt cover scheme and buy like 20 copies of this, because it's not worthy of 20 copies. But it would be interesting to see if they did a crossover that had some real impact and consequences. I mean, beyond Spawn having this sewn up face and whatever, that's a nice gimmick, but a good story would have been nice. How they come up with something like that at this point, I have no idea. Another new book we picked up was from Frank Miller's new imprint, Pandora. Artwork by Emily. Is it Emily Kubert? I suppose is a wife or a sister or something to that effect in the Kubert clan. Emma Kubert, excuse me, I misspoke. Anyway, I haven't had a chance to read this yet, but I got a bit of a kind of a Sandman universe vibe off this. It looks like one of Neil Gaiman's comic book fairy tales. There's even a Gaiman looking figure here with the hair, and almost looks like Dream to a certain amount. But anyway, I mean, I like the artwork. It's quaint. The cartooning is good. It's a little rough in some places, but it feels realized. It feels like a real complete world. I'm willing to go along with it and see where this story leads us to. Frank Miller presents, President and Editor-in-Chief Frank Miller. And apparently it credits 3 writers. Frank Miller, Anthony Marinville, and Chris Silvestri. So I find that hard to believe. Why do you need 3 writers unless it was Frank Miller throwing out an idea, to one guy, and that guy throws out a longer idea to the next guy, and then the last guy actually puts the words in the word balloons. I mean, I have no idea how that worked. But anyway, so those were my only recent releases that I picked up. Did snag some things online. I grabbed a couple lots of comics from the secondary market. 2 batches of Namor. We've been talking about Namor over on the Superhero Spotlight here on the channel. And of course, I would like to, I'm in the process of working on another Namor edition of Superhero Spotlight. So I had a few of the early issues, but this gave me the chance to fill in a lot of them. Here you can see from number 2 all the way through. This is fun stuff. I'll just flip through the covers here for you at least. They're all John Byrne covers. This was an interesting period in John Byrne's career, where he had the cachet to take over a new book and really repurpose the main hero. And at the time, I really liked this. I mean, I think it's even a cool series to go back and visit. It has a few missteps. Like, I don't like the notion of just taking everything out of costume, where if you look at like characters like this, where it's a very kind of gothic look, but it's also not what I would call an iconic costume design. But who knows? Maybe this character is the next Harley Quinn. This is one of the reasons I didn't buy all of this early issues. But I was able to get this for a really good price. And most of these are available at a fairly reasonable price. The exceptions being, of course, issue 1. Here you have the Griffin. And there we have the recreation of the classic scene from Fantastic Four, number 4, where Namor appears and blows the horn that summons Monstro. Byrne was great at just playing with the toys created by the old creators, especially Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. Good looking stuff. You see, the Griffin is a recurring character here in this run. Byrne had a way of kind of modernizing everything at this point. This is where he had come back to Marvel after he left DC and the Superman properties, and he really kind of depowered Superman and tried to put more science into his origin, make it a bit more science fiction-y again, and move away from the fantasy. And as a youngster collecting fantastic comics, I really liked that notion, the idea of it being closer to reality and closer to science made it more believable. But I don't know, as I grow older and develop my own storytelling chops and read mythology or whatever, I feel like in some ways that this is a very limiting it's a very limiting notion that you start to put yourself inside of boundaries when telling these stories, and that if you can't explain it through science fiction or physics or what have you, then suddenly it has no place within this universe, within superheroes or comics or storytelling in general, and you cut yourself off from a lot of really just unlimited potentialities. So anyway, that's the way I look at it. Insert fart joke here if you need more laughs. But that's how we're talking today on this special Christmas edition of What Comics Did You Buy? I'm also filling in back issues of the John Byrne run of the Fantastic Four. If you're not familiar with that run, this was actually his first issue where he took over the artwork and the writing. Back to basics. Man, I remember first seeing both this image and this reprinted in the Marvel Universe entries, the official handbook to the Marvel Universe, that is. And it made me really interested in the character of Diablo. And I mean, this is just such a great design, such great storytelling. You have this nice upshot at Diablo, and the lighting is very sinister, and the way he's got these little like candle-like figures of the Fantastic Four. It fits into his particular idiom, but also works with telling the story, the greater story at large. So yeah, filling in that Fantastic Four run. I'm getting closer. I have a lot of it. I just have to go back in and fill in a few later pieces. There was even more. It seems like this is a very Fantastic Four heavy week. I mean, we had Namor, although the Fantastic Four was not featured in it. But I did continue to fill in my collection of Brute stories. That is Reed Richards of Counter Earth, the Earth that is on the opposite side of the sun from ours. There, Reed Richards becoming an evil mastermind. Anyway, so I had been talking about those on a couple different books, whether it was a couple different episodes, whether it was What Comics Did You Buy or the Supervillain Spotlight, where we talked about the Frightful Four and how one version incorporated the Brute, Reed Richards of Counter Earth. Reed Richards, the deadly supervillain of all. And I've been slowly filling my way in to the top to the books I got this week. And these were actually sold together in a lot online for a very good price. There's a horrible punch right there on the cover. I don't think we'll be breaking down that particular fight, those fight scenes in Comic Book Dojo. But the energy is there, the excitement is there. And now I think I've completed my Reed Richards of Counter Earth, aka the Brute collection. So there you go. Perhaps that's the last that we'll see of the Brute on the channel. But I like continuity. So that, you can see that there are quests and storylines and themes and repeating motifs here on Comic-Jutsu, and each feature has its own rolling theme. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you. Dun 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 dun. I would actually probably need to reposition the camera just to get this all on screen, but it is the Jim Starlin's Marvel Cosmic Artifact Edition, featuring original pages from across the entirety of his cosmic saga. There are a few pages from almost everything, so it's really fascinating to take a look at. You get to see his early development and all the way up into his real cosmic storytelling prime, where that really culminated with the Adam Warlock storylines and then the death of Captain Marvel. So anyway, this was a birthday / Christmas gift to myself. I'm even probably going to wrap it up. And in true, Christmas tradition, I've been peeking at the presents in the closet. So here you go. Merry Christmas to me. The Marvel Cosmic Artifact Edition. There's the famous cover. Strange Tales 178, I do believe. There are, oops, I hit the camera. There are some channels that have done excellent breakdowns and flip-throughs of this book. And it's one that I'll probably have to revisit whenever I talk about Adam Warlock or Captain Marvel. But anyway, I just wanted to show you just a little glimpse so you could see what we picked up for ourselves here at Comic-Jutsu. What helped make our holiday gay and bright, as the song goes. Little something new, little something old. A little bit of everything here on Comic-Jutsu. So, what did you buy this week? Let me know down in the comments. Happy holidays to you. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Insert holiday tradition of your choice. Whatever makes you happy. I'm happy for you. Drink some eggnog for me. Personally, I'll be drinking a little bit of winter lager. So, cheers to you. Thanks for watching. Follow the links down below. Mate.